journey to know someone, actually see somebody. We're good now. Okay. So yeah.
Well, first I just want to say that you're the second mom that's recovered their child we've had speak. Patricia Leibovich. I don't know if anyone here got to see her speak. But anyhow, it was the same story.
Was it?
Her child was verbal.
Yep.
And then regressed. So.
Did she do a lot of the same
It
things?
was really interesting though because she had twins.
Oh,
A daughter
yeah.
and a son, and her son was
He
the
had
one.
the gene mutation.
Oh.
One with autism, and her daughter.
When it's more prevalent in males than females. Not that females can't get it, but
But I really
That's
want
great.
to ask you this.
Yes.
Because I think this is everyone's biggest struggle,
Mm-hmm.
is kids that are like 3 and 4 that they're just eating junk food all day long because that's how they're surviving
right.
in their
Yeah.
household. What would you tell a mother, to change that? Would you take away it all and just...
Oh, no.
Okay,
You can't.
How would you do that?
No. You can't abruptly change their diet. Like.
Don't hear the question.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Did you guys hear it? Okay. Yeah, you cannot abruptly change their diet. You will have meltdowns, and you will not have their cooperation with other things. Like, you're laughing. You know.
They taped a sign up on the door that said, "I hate my food life."
Oh.
I didn't care.
Well, if you abruptly change it, you are not. You want them to work with you. You want them to like what you're doing, and you want them to anticipate something new is a good thing. Okay. Yes.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
So what we created with Ian, now I don't know if that age is old enough to have this concept, but Ian, we had a list for him, and it was not a real list either. It was crazy because it would have been even more beneficial if I actually wrote the stuff down on a list and had him see it. But I just was like, we'll put this on your list of things you tried. You just have to try it, and we'll put it on the list. I don't care if you like it, but if you try it, we'll put it on the list. And we'd all like kind of wait, try to get him to try it. And when he'd put that green bean in his mouth, like we were like, yes, you did it. And we're like, we'll put it on the list. And then he could spit it out if he wanted to later, but he just had to try it. That was our rule in the house. You had to try it. And now our rule is you have to try it 3 times before you say I'm not having it, because the taste buds, when you eat something new that your taste buds have never experienced before, they don't like it. Your taste buds don't like that, okay? Sauerkraut, what? I'm used to drinking juice. I'm not going to have that sour stuff.
Now everybody in the household fights over the sauerkraut.
Oh yeah, they love sauerkraut. But your taste buds, it's a shock to them, and they don't really like it. So your first taste of something isn't a real taste. It's not a real taste. It's like a shock. So then you take another bite. Okay. By the third bite, you know if you like it or not. And so in our house, now that we have cooperation, 3 bites, then you can decide if you want to eat that. You have to eat the green stuff. Is the green stuff on the plate? That's non-negotiable. You got to eat that as much as I can get you to eat of it. How do you expand their food life is first you go with their motivations. And I do a video on YouTube about motivations. I think that's number 3 maybe. If your child loves milk, start there. Switch them to healthier milk. Like if they're drinking this nasty store-bought milk, switch them to healthier milk. Right, guys?
Can I just add something real quick?
Yeah.
I will not drink any other milk unless it's raw.
Yeah, my kids know.
Any store-bought milk.
Oh.
I turn up my nose immediately.
Does it taste good?
No, it doesn't. It really doesn't.
No. And even the organic processed milk at the store, the organic milk, like when I'm desperate and I have no milk and we haven't been to the farm, and I'm like, well, I have to get something, and I go get that and I bring it home, they'll let it sit. They won't drink that. I might as well not buy anything at all. They'll just drink water, whatever. But you start with their motivation. Yeah, my kids are, Rick says we have a refined palate and we are pretty spoiled, so he teases me all the time. We just know it's good, right? So you start with their motivation. If they like milk, get a healthier milk. If they like milkshakes, maybe try kefir. They will turn their nose up at it at first, but you just got to keep trying. The more you keep that food in their world, have food sitting on the table. Have a plate of fruit and whatever, you know, something healthy, carrots, whatever, sitting on the table. And as they see you eat those, take them in the playroom with them. As they see you nibbling at them, they might actually try it, or at least it's starting to play in their subconscious that this is acceptable, you know. Smoothies, if they like smoothies, add a little bit here, add a little bit there. If their desire, if their motivation is something crunchy, like crackers, Ian would make a meal out of saltine crackers. Kid you not, that's all he would eat. My mom said he was the cheapest date. She'd take him and then he'd just eat all the crackers and then they'd go home. But if crackers, if the crunch, then try to make your own crackers. Try to dehydrate vegetables into a cracker. That actually can be done. And they don't even know that it's a vegetable. They think it's a cracker. So start there. Start there. Start there with just expanding their world a little bit. If they're of the age that they can participate in the kitchen and it's safe, have them help in the kitchen. And don't care if they make a mess. Get them in there. Oh, Ian would never get dirty, by the way. It was a bad thing. We were carving pumpkins one day.
Oh my gosh, I remember this.
He's like scarred for life.
There's an actual phobia about this.
Yeah, we looked it up. There is.
We looked it up.
So we're carving pumpkins, and Sarah's 6 years older. I have an older child. She's 6 years older. She's in there digging. Ian loved pumpkin seeds. He loved the pumpkin seeds, the crunchy recipe. So he was like interested in it. He's looking, and he sees the pumpkin seeds in there, you know. And she's getting in there. She's pulling those out. And I'm like, Ian, put your hand in there. Get them, pull it out. Get it, Ian, go, get it. And he's like, I don't know. And I'm like, Sarah, put his hand in there. She grabbed his hand, she put it in there, and he screamed, and he jumped off that chair, and he went running into the bathroom, and he's screaming the whole time. And I was such an awful mom. I was in so much trouble.
And guess what the phobia is caused by?
What, mothers putting their kids in? Yeah, that's a real thing. It is. So I'm far from being perfect. So yeah, he couldn't be dirty. At bath time, I'm sure you're gonna love me sharing this. At bath time, he would sit in the water until I got the soap out. Then he'd stand up, and he was not gonna sit in that dirty butt water. Like he was not gonna sit in that water. And he got showered all the time. He'd sit in the water till the soap came out and then stand up, and that was it. We were done. And so it was kind of hard when I started giving him detox baths with diatomaceous earth. If any of you have seen what that looks like, it looks like you're taking a mud bath, like a really serious mud bath. That's what it is. It's, you know, earth. So he didn't like that, but he did it.
What else were in your detox
He did it.
baths? What else were in your detox baths?
We did Epsom salts, and not together, like separately. We've done that, and we've done diatomaceous earth. In my opinion, as long as you're doing something to detox, there's many things out there. So just because I did something and it worked for us doesn't mean it's going to work for everybody, but do something.
How did you use that
Diatomaceous earth?
Yeah.
I just put it in the water.
Okay.
I've
Put it on the skin.
Oh yeah, you sit in it. You don't want to sit in it any more than 20 minutes.
A cup in the bath water, or how much did it?
Yeah, I mean, it just depends on how much water you have. I just threw a cup in. Oh, no, not pasty. I mean, it's liquid. You'll like clog your drains if you make it pasty. You want it to go down the drain. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, there you go. There you go. It's good stuff. It is good stuff.
You could do baking soda as well. Like
There's-
aluminum-free baking soda. It's nice, cheap. way
There are
to do
so
it.
many different things you can do to detox. I'm just do something. We never did anything real harsh with Ian. We never did chelation. I don't know enough about that, and it kind of scares me. now that I know, maybe one of you guys can educate me, but because I know now that he can't detox, I don't know enough about chelation if it just releases, and does he have an issue with the releasing or the actual detoxing? There's two parts there. You got to release it, and it's got to go somewhere. So if he has a problem with it going somewhere, which I'm not sure if that's how that works, because I don't, not a genetic doctor or anything, I'm like, you know what? I'm just not going to mess with it. So we didn't do anything harsh, and that was, I didn't even know that. I'm just glad we didn't, because I don't know. So, yeah.
Oh, I have a question for Ian.
Oh, come on up, Ian. Yes, come on up, everybody. Oh, honey, you want to come up? Or you good?
I'm just putting it out there right now. I'm a little nervous. So.
That's okay. I just want to know if you ever get a hold of any junk food. I don't know. How does that make you feel? Do you ever go off the diet that you're on? Yeah.
Well, recently for the past few years, I've been gluten-free because I know that there's a certain gene in my body that if gluten is in my system and that turns on, it will cause me to become celiac, and we don't want that. So, but whenever I do eat something like that, I tend to get a little bit of hype. I tend to get a little hyper, and I might feel bad afterwards. So I usually don't eat that stuff because I feel bad afterwards. But if I do,
Do you have a hard time sleeping then? If you
sometimes, yeah.
like that?
Yeah.
Seems like a really bizarre question, but because you only know how you feel, right? Like I only know how I feel, so it might be a bizarre question. But I sometimes wonder, our society almost says, oh, you're autistic, and then they move on down the road. They don't know how to serve someone. So do you feel like in those seasons of your life where your mom was helping out to try to communicate with you, were you on the inside feeling that? Like, I can't communicate. Or not really, you can't distinguish that feeling because you only know how you feel inside. You don't put it with the season.
I don't remember too much being in autism, but what I do remember is kind of that feeling that I wasn't able to communicate very well with my family. And
Tell her about when you went to your first few days of Waldorf and what you said to me.
oh my gosh, I will never forget my first few days at Waldorf. It was an amazing experience. I highly recommend it. If there's a Waldorf school near you, please go to it. But when I first went there was a bunch of people that was just being themselves. At public school, sometimes you try to pretend to be something you're not. And my first few days there, I told my mom in the car, I'm like, I feel like I can actually be myself here. Like I don't have to pretend to be something I'm not. I don't have to be one of, I can be myself. I can share things I like with other people and they won't judge me for it. I just felt like that. And
What age was that?
huh?
Was that like 10?
That was actually recent. I graduated from Waldorf last year. It goes from, they do preschool, right?
Yeah, but you weren't there for preschool. He started in half of 6th grade. We pulled him out of public school because they were perfectly fine with him just being passed on to the next grade and the next grade and failing everything but just passing him on. They were perfectly fine with that, and they even said that. And I said, I'm not signing up for that program. And so we pulled him out, and we found a Waldorf school, which is it's an educational approach similar to Montessori. So I don't know if any of you have heard of Montessori. Waldorf is, that's a certain educational approach, and Waldorf is also, it's not the name of a school. It's a educational approach. So we pulled him out spring of 6th grade and put him in there. And that was right after we had 2 deaths in our family within a 60-day period, 90 or 60-day period. We had 2 deaths in the family. Rick's grandmother passed and my grandfather passed. And in between those deaths, Ian was beaten to the ground on the playground by a girl. that he would not fight because, shouldn't hit a girl. So he didn't fight back. And when that happened, all of that happening at once, even for a neurotypical child, that's just overwhelm. That's just too much. And for Ian, with everything he was trying to do to get caught up academically, and then this happened, and it just was like, I'm done. And he really felt betrayed by the school because he got punished for it. Because this no tolerance policy, if you're involved, yeah, go ahead.
Can I say this?
Take over.
Okay. I was just going to put out there right now. I really don't like public school. I really don't. But the one thing that I had experience with is Common Core was introduced towards the middle of the school year or something like that, and I wasn't able to answer some of the questions. And when I did, and when they were correct, they marked all my stuff wrong. Like I was failing the class, even though I got it right, because either I wasn't showing the work, or I showed the work and I wasn't doing it the way they wanted me to do it. So I just stopped doing homework, because why do homework when all they're going to do is mark all your stuff wrong?
How's that for critical thinking?
So, yeah, I just stopped doing my homework, and I was kind of used to it, just floating along.
So he started failing everything. He was checking out, and he felt betrayed by the school, all this emotional, everything with the deaths in the family and being beat up by a girl. And it was actually his best friend who told this girl to beat him up because he accidentally spilled milk at lunch on his best friend. Like, spilled milk. He actually spilled milk. Like, don't cry over spilled milk. Yeah. So, yeah, that's what happened, and he checked out, and so we put him in Waldorf, to get back to you. We put him in Waldorf.